Welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. Today I'm back with my good friend Odell Bizzell, and we're talking public speaking profits. Welcome back to the podcast, Odell.
Well, thanks so much for having me. If I'm back again, that means I must have done something or said something uh, pretty cool. So
You totally
excited to be back.
We're continuing to get feedback on the first program that we did together, which was all about how to get paid in the college market. And people have just raved and continue to rave about that one. Now, your new book is called Public Speaking Profits, and I'm super excited to dive into those with you. But right before we started, I asked you how your summer was going, and you said it was kind of unexpected in a few different ways. Talk a little bit about that. How is your summer going?
Yeah. As of this recording, it's the summertime. Right now, I have a workcation. I got my family with me down here in South Carolina in the United States. And by unexpected, just a lot of different things in a good way. If I could be personal, we're friends, James, so I can share this. For a long time in my business career caused me to be a little bit out of balance as far as finances goes. Like my credit was not really good in my 20s, and I started, going through that process. And now my wife and I, we've been able to get into a new house. We've been able to get my credit score back over into the 700s. So that's just personal. But I say that to say to a lot of people that might be going through that, we don't like to share that stuff because it shows that we're not invincible. But as long as you keep making money and paying your bills, the stuff will work out. That's that part. Also, my wife and I, we went on a 2-week vacation. We haven't done that ever. We've never done that.
Wow.
We've been married going on 15 years, and we have not vacationed that long. And so we did that. We were able to go abroad for about a week, and then we went to the BET Awards and got to walk the red carpet. So just like really cool things personally and also professionally. Business has just been on the upswing. And so, yeah, so just excited. It might have to do with the fact that I was on your podcast, Jane. Who
Ah,
knows?
yes, it's all coming together simply from that. Well, listen, I just want to kind of back up to what you talked about with regards to taking a long time to just kind of work your way towards financial freedom. Because I think a lot of people think that those of us who run podcasts or who are in positions of authority, let's say, don't have any problems. And the fact of the matter is, I've actually had a pretty rough summer when it comes to my own kind of mindset struggles, and I'm just working my way out of them right now. And I'm going to write about this at some point, the summer that I lost myself or something like that, because I really do feel that being open and honest about what's going on. And I have to tell you, Odell, the news, it's recession, it's COVID, it's this, it's that. It starts bearing down on you and weighing on you so heavily that it can start to mess with your mind. And June is always a quiet month for me here in my business. And that plays with my mind every June. So it's really interesting. For you as a college speaker, like that has been your past, and I know you're making a move now towards corporate. The summertime is probably a little bit quieter. Have you started to lose your mojo during the summer thinking, oh no, it's not going to come back for me this fall or something? Or do you
Well,
just so happy to rest?
hey, that's a great point, and I'll tell anybody whether you're whatever market you're in, but specifically in the college and education space, I would say I've been in this space for 13 years total. It wasn't until maybe about 5 years ago that I started not having quiet summers that I realized that honestly, in the speaking game in the United States, the only quiet time is the time that you're quiet with your marketing.
Hmm.
Because I'm busy in the summer now because I found a niche, and we talked about it on the first episode. There's a grant funded market that they have $1 billion with a B worth of funding. Well, they have a lot of summer programs, Jane. So right now I'm doing maybe my third or fourth summer program of this summer. And the money that you can make is huge. I did a 5-figure contract this summer with one of those programs.
Hmm.
And it was inside of a pocket of the grant funded market that I didn't even realize they had the money. So there's a lot of different things that you can explore.
And
But I
so,
will say, go ahead.
well, I think maybe there could be a mindset that, well, I'm in this market, there's no business to be made in this summer, and you said to yourself, I'm going to look for the opportunity. The same thing could be said about, oh, we're moving into a recession, there's no business to be had during a recession, or you can think to yourself, let me look for the opportunity. Same thing again in COVID, and I know you did that during COVID. This wasn't necessarily what the basis for this conversation was meant to be about, but I'm really happy because mindset, I think, is everything. You know, it's you are constantly looking across the horizon to see where the opportunity lies for you.
Yeah.
That's just
And when we were doing our clubhouse rooms on a regular basis, and you would talk about mindset a lot, I was still and with with our friend Stan, I was still kind of like a little bit like, yeah, is it mindset really? But now at this point,
drank the
I and I,
Kool-Aid.
I drank the Kool-Aid, and I even tell my audiences this, whether they're college kids, whether they're adults, I say whatever type of success you want, 90% of it is mindset and environment. Like
Yeah.
that's 90% of it. And so for those of you listening, and to echo what you said, Jane, it's if you believe that is so, then it will be so. If you don't, then it's not. And it's crazy that it's like that. I've done well my life thinking, yeah, there's more how-tos, there's more strategies, there's more to that. But no, it's really not. Once you have that mindset fixed, because our brains, they only operate on programming. So the way that you program it is the way it is, just like recession. Oh, it's a recession. My wife and I went to Jamaica. There were lines everywhere, Jane. There was lines to go to airport. There was lines to go to Jamaica to the resort. We went to Sandals Resort. There were lines to check in there. There was lines
Yeah.
everywhere. So
Yeah.
it seems as if the programming that we kind of tune into, if you watch the news, if you are on that stuff, yeah, they'll tell you this is a recession for the narrative for whatever they want to push.
Right.
But you can make so much money if that's what you want, but you can also elevate your career. And that's a lot of what Public Speaking Profits, the book, is all about.
Nice. Well, that's a good transition. I went off of, I'm off of social media for an entire month this summer, and a part of that is a news cleanse. I'm off the news as well. Now, I got to tell you, a few things seep in. They get to me somehow or another anyway, but it really helps me kind of regain my sense of balance and my sense of who I am. And I'm so excited to come back even stronger after a little bit of downtime in this regards. Thank you. Uh, Amazon's here at my
See,
door. At my door.
Amazon doesn't think there's a recession either.
That's right. Tell us, sir, do you think there's a recession? No, there is no recession. Okay, so let's talk about the three kind of key ideas in your new book, Public Speaking. Is it, tell me the exact name of the title.
Public Speaking Profits. Public Speaking
Public
Profits.
Speaking Profits. Is there a subtitle?
Yes, it's 5 ways to assemble, all, and acquire clients.
Oh, love it. Okay. So, what is your first key idea around public speaking for profit? How can we become more profitable in our public speaking business?
I'll tell everybody before you get the book. I want everybody to get the book, but if you don't get the book, I want to just let you know that understanding the business that you're in is critical, and that's the reason I wrote the book. I struggled for the longest to write this book because I didn't know what I was going to call it. I wanted it to be like the public speaking book, a predecessor, if you will, to the Wealthy Speaker series of books. Like if you read Wealthy Speaker, oh, you gotta read Public Speaking Profits. But I kept going back and forth with it. And then I said, let me study some more. And then when I studied some more, I got some coaching, got some mindset shifting, and realized like what business are we actually in? What is the business that we're in? And this kind of blew my mind as I went back through my notes. For those of you that take notes, like reference back to the notes. But I was at a seminar or something like that, and there was a guy talking, and he said, make sure that you know you're in the business of collecting decisions. And when I went through that note, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember when he said it, but it didn't click with the speaking business.
Yeah.
And so many people that I know I've coached, and I know you've coached a ton of people, they are afraid of getting decisions when that's the business.
Afraid of the no.
Yeah.
Afraid of the no? Yeah.
They're afraid of the no. And this is something else that's kind of connected to it. And I talk about it in the book. So whereas if you have 10 people that you actually talk to, 10 qualified people, not just 10 random people, 10 qualified people that you talk to, and 9 of them say no, and 10 people say, or the 10th person says yes, and that's a $10,000 contract, you actually got paid $1,000 per decision. Yeah. So if you knew for every no, well, that's $1,000 I'm gonna be able to collect. That's $1,000, and you think about it like that.
Yeah.
Then you'll move forward and get those decisions. And so that's the biggest, the first kind of tenet that I talk about in the book.
Well, really that comes back to mindset again. One of the things that I have learned is that if you are willing to feel, so what's the pain that you might feel from a no? What if somebody said to you, Odell, we're not going to use you this year, what feeling would you have?
Rejection. Maybe I'm a little upset because they kind of led me on.
Right.
I'm sad. I thought I was gonna pay some good bills.
And so, okay, we're not laughing about rejection. We're just laughing. So let's say rejection is the feeling that you get from that. If you can get okay with rejection and sadness, and kind of move towards that next year. Like if you are able to balance the idea that this business and life is going to be 50% good and 50% bad. And I try to tip the scales so it's more on the good side, but basically we're going to get 50-50. We're never going to not be rejected. Do you know any speaker out there who has never been rejected?
Not any good ones. Not any ones that have had success in their career.
Oh no, I don't even know that there would be any bad ones or good ones. No, everybody has had rejection, and if you can get right with that, then I think there's no stopping you. So getting understanding that you're in the right business and you're in the business of collecting decisions. That's a very interesting turn. Okay, tell me what number 2 is.
So number 2 is all about using public speaking as paid advertising. It's using it as paid advertising. This is something that I got, again, when we're talking about mindset and how long it took me to drink the Kool-Aid. I actually went on a retreat last year to Phoenix, Arizona, with led by a guy who's made $500 million with a B online. And I've never had an experience like this. I go to his place, and first of all, he let me use his condo because I had a presentation. It was really cool. I got to use his office. It was cool. And then he was like, okay, so Odell, what do you want? And we just sat there for like an hour. He was like, so what do you want? And I said, I want to figure out a way to do my business easier. He's like, that's not it. And he kept saying, it's like, nah, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
And I was exhausted. I said, oh my gosh. I was like, I want this, I want that. And he said, all right. He says, well, tell me about your business. And then I told him I was a college speaker. He said, okay, so what are you selling to the college students? And I said, nah, you don't understand how it works, man. Like, I said, the college pays you a fee, and then that's how I get paid. And he said, so you don't sell the college students anything? And I
Right.
said, no. And he said, how long have you been doing it? And I said, I've been doing it since 2008, 2013, full time. And he said, so let me ask you this. How many students do you think you've spoken to throughout the totality of your career? And as soon as he said that, I got sick a little bit. I said,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
gosh. I said, I don't know, man. Maybe I was like over 100,000. He's like, let's just say 100,000. He said, you mean to tell me, Odell, that nobody had any money? Nobody's parents had any money? That they didn't like you enough to buy something from you? And and then it was at that point the light bulb kind of came on, and he said, for everything that you do, you have to have an upsell, you
Yeah.
have to have a side sell, a down sell. He said your email list should at least be 100,000. You're like, he was saying all this stuff. And so then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I had somebody, Jane, ask me to like speak to their group about I don't even remember what it was. And I spoke, and they were asking me, oh, what's your book? And they were like, can I buy your book? I was like, sure, because I had some with me. And I thought, I've been speaking so long that the act of me speaking is an authoritative act.
Mm.
So because I'm good on stage, automatically people are gonna be like, what else does he have?
They want to
And
take a piece of you home with them.
we've heard that. If you're a speaker listening to this, you've heard that before.
Yeah.
But you always think about it, well, can somebody book me again versus can they pay me for a product? Can they pay me for a service? Can they pay me in some other way? And so that's the biggest thing. Every speaker listening, if you listen to the sound of my voice, you need to use paid speaking as paid advertising for whatever it is. A coaching program, a book course, a retreat, something. You need to be offering your audience
Let's
something else on the back end.
let's just do the math on a book, okay? A $20 book. Let's say only 10% of your audience, all the students that you had spoken for, only 10% bought a $20 book from you. That's $200,000 that you left on the table. That's the feeling that you're getting in your gut of regret right now, Odell. And you have written lots of books, so let's just be clear about that. I often had worked those numbers for one of my highest paid clients. Stop crying. And he probably was in over 1 million people in his audiences and hadn't written a book yet. Just one book, no course, no coaching, no back end. Now there was other bigger things, consulting projects and stuff like that. But be aware of having one thing minimum. The book is the minimum, I think, and then we kind of go up from there. And for you in the college space, it might be what do we call the stuff that, like, promotional products? It
Yeah,
might,
like a hat,
yeah, a hat, a shirt.
t-shirt.
You're wearing the garb here. Those of you watching on YouTube. Um, yeah, taking home some of the swag that belongs to that speaker. This is the reason why I love the idea of having a phrase that pays. Something that you say that is very action oriented. Let's use Nike's Just Do It as an example. So let's say you're a speaker and you're out there and you deliver the Just Do It message, and then they get the Just Do It book, and then they take home the Just Do It thermal mug and all the swag that goes with it. Like, that's a motivational message for them to take with them. And I think in your market especially, I don't know if I do that in corporate, but in your market especially, there's an opportunity there, isn't there?
For sure. And I'm not as familiar with corporate, but everybody wants cool stuff. I think you just have to figure out what that cool thing is for your audience. Here's just a suggestion that I have for everybody. There are different apps out there. I won't endorse any app, but now instead of, back in the old days, some of y'all youngsters don't remember, but back in the old days, speakers used to have to like carry the books and carry the CDs and the DVDs and all that stuff if they wanted to make money.
Yeah.
But now you can have an app where literally people can pay and they can get access to, if you have former speeches or previous speeches, or you have like your best speeches, they can get access to that stuff. And you can have just a low ball offer where you say, hey, how many of y'all like this? Wouldn't this be cool to take home with you? Hey, pull out your phones and do that. That's something that you can do. And it can be instructive. It can be inspirational.
They order products through there too then?
I don't know about that. I only know about digital downloads
All right.
that they can do.
Because I
But
think a lot of people are trained to sit in your audience and, get on Amazon and just order your book right there. It's like the easiest, lowest hassle. We're also used to everything coming the next day. Anything beyond that is too much hassle. And so I know that that's why I make a lot more from Amazon selling books than I do from my own website, is because the hassle factor is just it's so easy with Amazon. One of the things, backing up to the corporate idea, is, and I just bought one from Oprah, is a coffee mug, a thermal coffee mug with your brand on it. Everybody in corporate has a desk and everybody in corporate drinks something at their desk. And so I think that that's a great idea. Okay. You mentioned coaching as being a part of, you really are a proponent for people having a back end of coaching. Talk about that.
it's one of those situations where, again, I'll go back to the retreat that the retreat leader said. He said, as a speaker, you are a coach. You dispense advice,
Mm-hmm.
and you're at a position where people take the advice. And he says, so that's the easiest upsell. You just extend the presentation.
Yeah.
And because we had to move to virtual for so long, it's a whole lot easier to create that. And I have clients that have done really well. And when I mention coaching to them, like, oh no, I'm not gonna do coaching. You're my coach. I'll just send everybody to you. And I'm like, everybody's not gonna come to me. Like there are some people that I coach that are women that the only reason I coach them is because I was referred by another woman that I knew or that I helped a long time ago. So it depends. Like some people are gonna buy stuff from you because you're Jane. They're not gonna buy based on different factors. So you have an opportunity to do that. I think a lot of people just think coaching, oh, I'm not Jane Atkinson. Oh, I can't do that. Like you could coach 10 people and they could pay you $10,000 a year and you make 100K on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I've done the last 2 years, not even really promoting it like that. And Jane hadn't been affected by me, and her business has grown. I haven't been affected by her, and so I think with coaching, you do it the way that it fits you, but it's a natural progression because that's what you're doing anyway. Most of us that are in this line of work, we just don't want to. All right, here's some advice that you're probably not going to remember totally, and I'll see you maybe next time if I get hired again.
And if you have fears that you don't have what it takes to be a coach, there are a few things you can think about. Number one, stay in your lane when you're coaching. Whatever you're out speaking about, you are indeed an expert on. So make sure that's what you're coaching on. I have found some people who have gotten themselves in over their head on coaching because they have allowed the topic to stray into areas that are outside their realm of expertise. So always keep a very clear kind of schedule of events for your coaching calls so that we're going to talk about this, or this, because that's my wheelhouse. Like a lot of people will call me and say, can you write a speech for me? No, that's not my wheelhouse. I can help you at the broad strokes level, at the 10,000 foot level. I can help you map out and really get your ideas down on paper. If you want help with that, that's me. But if you're looking for a speech writer, that's not me. And being very clear and having somebody else that you can pass that off to. But you can also go and get trained as a coach. I went to CTI, which is Coaches Training Institute, and that gives you just a lot of structure to work within, and I think that gives you confidence too. So there's lots of places to get trained as a coach that nowadays. I don't know that I would say it's absolutely necessary. I'm not certified. I didn't get certified by CTI because I thought nobody would care, and in 20 years nobody has cared. Right? I got the training. I kept my training, and I have used the training, but honestly, it just helped me get started. That was it. Yeah. So coaching, I think, is a good idea for people. Maybe not everybody is going to want to be a coach. And I know there are going to be people who say, well, as a legit coach, I resent that implication that everybody should be a coach. I would say let's make sure we frame it so that you're staying within your wheelhouse, right? Let's make sure that you're really coaching on the things that you are good at and the things that you get paid to speak on stage for. I think that kind of coaching will feel the most comfortable, don't you?
Absolutely. And for those of you that have trepidation, you could just not want to do it, which is cool.
Mhm.
But also you got to think of leverage communication, and that's something else I talk about in the book. That's what public speaking is. You wouldn't go speak one on one to every single person. If any organization, any group, they say we have 1,000 people, we want you to talk to every individual person, you wouldn't want to do that. That's why it's a public speech. That's why you
Yeah,
broadcast your voice through that public speaking platform.
right.
And so if you're like, I don't want to be a coach, you're basically just saying that I don't want to continue to talk to people, and I don't want to add to my bank account. Because again, you think about it, if you speak to an audience of 1,000 people and 10, which is very low, 10 are like, man, I would love to dot,
Yeah,
dot, 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 dot. And you say, okay, look, I've got a 30-day cohort that I do where I meet with people once a week, and we just talk and we just ask questions. It's $500 or whatever it is.
yeah.
You could do something like that, and it will continually allow you to grow into what you want to do. Because I know with me, I'm a very introverted person. I don't have year-long coaching because I don't want to be with you for a year. I just don't. And people will say, "Oh, Dale, you're losing money." It's like, but I'm gaining my peace.
Yeah,
So if you're talking to me and you're like, "Well, I don't want to do coaching," like just consider
yeah.
that there might be people in the audience, and then just you could also productize it as well. To whereas I have this thing, a book, a course, videos, and I'll give you access to that for 30 days. And so, but the whole purpose of the book's public speaking profits, not just to look at your public speaking from a lens of, oh, I get paid to speak,
Mhm.
and then that's it. It's how you create different ways to profit from that mechanism of public speaking.
I love that. And we always talk over here at the Wealthy Speaker School about building the business of your dreams. So if you don't want to do a one-on-one coaching contract for a year, what do you want to do? Maybe you'll do 10 people for 3 months, or 10 people for 1 month, or 5 people for 6 months. It's really up to you to build. And really the only way that we know what works for us over here at the school is because we have tried a million things that didn't work, but leading back to the mindset of failure. I remember my very first, it wasn't really the Wealthy Speakers School at the time, but it was my very first foray into group. And
Oh, I want to hear about it. I
I
want to
had
hear
like
about it.
100 people sign up. Yeah, yeah, I want to be a part of this. Well, here's the problem. First of all, there was no Zoom at the time, it was all on the phone. And speakers want to hear themselves speak. They want to get a chance to ask questions, and there was too many people. So we went from 100 people down to a smaller group of people, and then a smaller group of people, and then we have had so many trials and errors and figured out what works and what doesn't work. And so we now have really, I've gone from I don't even have an inner circle mastermind anymore. I've taken that off of my offering path, but I do have one kind of stepping stone coaching program. And once you're in my coaching program, you get to be a part of my VIP inner circle calls. And there's like 10 or 15 really high level speaker on those calls. And now we do it that way. Like everything has been, we're kind of throwing out all the things, Odell, and just making sure that everything we invite back in is something that we really, really, really want to do still. So we've gotten the school better and better and better and better, but that's all through trial and error.
That's it.
Yeah, and you only knew that you didn't want to coach people for a year after you coached them.
After I coached them for a year, and we were on month 6, and I was like,
Yeah.
how much longer do we have?
And I love coaching people for a year. That's when we actually get the best results. That's how I know. And so, but we know that we're moving from ready to aim to fire, and that's our process for that entire year. And sometimes people hit fire and like, okay, I think I'm ready to go. It's like, no, this is when the fun's begun. This is when we're just getting started. So anyway, Odell, I always love talking to you, my friend. I miss you. Are you still talking about trying things and then not doing them anymore? Are you still on Clubhouse? I'm not on Clubhouse anymore.
I have been very inconsistent with Clubhouse.
Okay.
I'll jump in and out every now and again, but it's really now I'm more focused on serving the group that I have. If I get on Clubhouse, it's somebody else's room or something like that. But as you know, Jane, sometimes we can take on too much. And I think Clubhouse, at least for me, it was there when I didn't really know what else I was gonna do.
It was like in the middle of COVID, and I've said this on numerous occasions. I would never say that going on Clubhouse was ever a mistake for me because I met all you guys. Like you were like the best people in the world to me. I just like stumbled across this room one day, and there's Odell leading the room, and he said, Jane Atkinson's in the house, and I'm like, what? Who? Hi. What's going on? And then all of a sudden we become BFFs because of that. And I absolutely love the time that I spent with you and Stan and the boys in the room and the girls that you introduced me to some really, really cool people. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being a legend.
Okay, talk about when Public Speaking Profits book is going to be available.
Well, as of now, we are going through the beautiful editing process of it. For those of y'all that know books, y'all know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're scheduled to be out at the beginning of September. So if you're listening to this before that, you can go to publicspeakingprofits.com and it'll be there for you. And if not, the waiting list will be there for you.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on the show again, Odell. Always a pleasure. I hope you and your family have a beautiful rest of your kind of working vacation that you're in the middle of right now. Enjoy yourself. And for those of you listening in, we'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now, everyone.